Beyond events. How G Inc. champions community impact, diversity, and inclusive brand experiences. Think about the last brand activation you walked through. Maybe it was a pop-up at a summer festival, a product demo at a major sporting event, or a street-level experience in a busy city. Now think about the people staffing it. Did they look like you? Did they speak your language, share your frame of reference, reflect something real about your community? For Jennifer Hing, founder of G Inc., those questions are not abstract. They sit at the center of everything her company does. Since launching in 2009, G Inc. has built a reputation as a nationwide event staffing agency with a distinct point of view: that the people representing a brand on the ground matter just as much as the creative concept behind the event itself. And that point of view has grown into something larger than staffing. It has grown into a philosophy about what brands owe their audiences, and what a company owes its community. Why the right staff changes everything for inclusive brand experiences. The experiential marketing industry has spent years refining the art of the event. Bigger activations, sharper visuals, more immersive formats. But one piece has historically been treated as an afterthought: who actually shows up to staff it? G Inc. was built on the belief that this is the wrong way to think about staffing. Event teams should reflect the audiences they are engaging with, Hing has explained, and G Inc. structures its entire talent approach around that idea. The company maintains a diverse roster of brand ambassadors across both Canada and the United States, with the explicit goal of matching each team to the demographics and culture of its specific activation location. This is what diversity in experiential marketing looks like in practice. It is not a policy statement. It is a staffing decision made for every single program, whether the event is in Omaha, Los Angeles, Halifax, or anywhere in between. The results are real. When attendees encounter brand representatives who genuinely reflect their community, the connection feels authentic rather than manufactured. Consumers notice when representation is genuine, and they notice when it is not. G Inc. helps clients get it right from the start. Building event teams that reflect real communities. Diversity in event staffing is about more than optics. It is about communication, cultural competency, and the ability to create moments that feel personal rather than transactional. G Inc. takes a deliberate approach to this. Rather than defaulting to a standard roster of available talent, the company presents clients with a strong selection of qualified candidates specifically suited to each program's audience and location. Clients can review those options themselves, or they can trust G Inc.'s team to recommend the best fit based on their experience and understanding of the brand's goals. That flexibility matters. Every brand has a different audience. A campaign reaching LGBTQ+ communities requires different staffing considerations than one targeting families at a regional sporting event. Both deserve the same level of care and intentionality. G Inc. has developed inclusive partnerships across a range of brand types, including those with explicit commitments to LGBTQ+ inclusion. Supporting these clients means building teams that don't just fill a role but genuinely represent the spirit of the brand activation. That requires a wide, carefully maintained network, and a team willing to ask the right questions before the first brand ambassador ever sets foot on site. How G Inc. creates authentic connections between brands and audiences. One of the most consistent challenges Hing describes is the pressure brands face to create genuine connections with their audiences. Consumers expect experiences that feel genuine, inclusive, and representative of the communities they're engaging with, she reflected. The right event staff play an important role in making those connections successful. This is a long way from the old model of event staffing, where the primary criteria were availability and a polished appearance. Today's audiences are more discerning. They expect brand experiences to treat them as full human beings, not just foot traffic to be funneled through an activation. G Inc. helps clients meet that expectation through several concrete practices: Presenting staffing options that reflect the demographics of each event's local community, working closely with clients to understand the specific experience their brand is trying to create. Ensuring brand ambassadors are well prepared and aligned with the client's values and audience expectations, providing real-time reporting and on-site team leads who can adjust execution as the event unfolds, building in post-event analytics so clients can measure the depth and quality of audience engagement. The goal is not just a smooth event. It is an event where the audience feels seen. That distinction is what separates a memorable brand experience from one that fades the moment the tent comes down. Community engagement as a business value, not a marketing strategy. G&G Inc.'s commitment to community does not stop at the edges of a client's activation footprint. G&G has built the company with a broader sense of responsibility, one that connects the work of event staffing to the communities those events take place in. The company's smaller internal structure is intentional. A boutique team means closer relationships, faster communication, and a culture where accountability is personal rather than institutional. Every contractor in the G&G Inc. network, whether they are working in a major market or a smaller city, knows the team, trusts the process, and feels supported. That's not incidental. It's a design choice. Beyond the business itself, G&G Inc. extends its values into causes including animal rescue advocacy and charitable community initiatives. These commitments reflect a belief that responsible business practices extend past client deliverables. They include showing up for the communities that make the work possible in the first place. Why Jennifer Hing built a values-driven company from day one. The origin story of G&G Inc. is grounded in practicality. In 2009, Hing was working at another staffing agency while fielding a growing number of requests from freelance professionals and brands who needed event staffing support. She started by connecting trusted colleagues with opportunities when she was unavailable herself. Simple enough. But what she was really building, even before she knew it, was a relationship-driven company. One where the people in the network mattered, where clients were treated as partners rather than accounts, and where the quality of every interaction reflected directly on the agency's name. She gave herself 2 years to prove the concept. Nearly 2 decades later, G&G Inc. operates across North America with a nationwide talent network and a client list that includes major programs connected to events like FIFA. The scale has changed. The approach has not. Strong relationships are built beyond emails and virtual communication, Hing has said, describing the company's deliberate choice to connect with clients face-to-face whenever possible. That same relational instinct shapes how G&G Inc. approaches diversity, inclusion, and community engagement. These aren't add-ons to the business model. They are woven into its fabric. The through line: representation creates meaning. There is a version of the event staffing industry that treats people as interchangeable parts, slotted in and out of activities with minimal thought. G&G Inc. is not that company. What Hing has built over nearly 2 decades is an agency that takes seriously the idea that the people in front of a brand's audience are not just representatives. They are experiences. And an experience that reflects the real, diverse world its audience lives in will always land differently than one that doesn't. The industry is catching up to this understanding. Brands are asking harder questions about who staffs their activations and why. Consumers are holding companies to higher standards on representation, authenticity, and community respect. G&G Inc. has been operating with those standards built in since long before they became industry talking points. As Hing put it simply, by presenting clients with a strong selection of qualified candidates who represent the communities they are reaching, we help brands create more meaningful interactions with consumers. This approach allows attendees to feel seen, understood, and connected to the experience. Feeling seen. In a crowded, noisy, endlessly stimulated world, that might be the most valuable thing a brand can offer. G of G Inc. has made it their business to deliver exactly that.